Hello everyone, my name is Salim and welcome to the Markets Breakdown Analysis for Wednesday, the 22nd of November 2023. We'll be breaking down chart and show the exact zones where price will close above potential buys or close below for potential sells as well. So looking at the daily candle for Tuesday, now the first thing we can see on a daily actually, we can see a rejection to the downside. Now when we look on the left, what do we see? We have this daily range that was formed recently, roughly around a couple of weeks ago. So we've explained on yesterday's analysis how we could potentially see price respecting this daily support and rejecting, and basically pretty much as far as we can see now, this is a strong daily support, and also when you drop down to the 4 time frame, this is a strong 4-hour support as well. So I would say there is a higher probability for price to continue bearish once price break below this 4-hour support. And looking at the weekly so far, the weekly, in my opinion, is just basically ranging really within the previous body candle on a weekly time frame. So now to break down the chart, and more likely the daily will be closing doji bullish, forming a rejection to the downside. So it's basically just a range really. So dropping down to the 4-hour time frame, and what we can identify here is we have the most recent 4-hour support formed around 184.750, the most recent 4-hour resistance formed around 186.780. Dropping down to the hourly time frame, and what we can see here is we have the most recent 1-hour support at this level around 184.980. The most recent 1-hour resistance, we have this resistance at this level around 186.110. Dropping down to the 5-minute time frame, and now what we can see, we have this new range. In my opinion, I see this as a range because when you put a line at this level, we have this previous 30-minute resistance on the left. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop down to the 50-minute time frame and see what we can identify. So as we mentioned, we have this 15-minute support around 185.570. So this is a range really. So, and now to identify D-no trades on, I'd say potential buys could be above 186.110 as price break and close above these hourly resistances. Potential sells ideally is to wait for price to break and close below 185.70, 185.570 during high volume time. So even if price break below this level, we might see price rejecting and then retracing and form a rejection. Let's say form a range within this level as well and forming a rejection to the downside. So ideally is to wait for price to break and close out of this range during high volume time. And this is going to be the no trade zone. And now to look for potential buys, going back to the daily. So the first thing we can identify here is we have this daily high that was formed on Monday. Dropping down to the 4-hour time frame, this is a 4-hour resistance around 186.760, 790, excuse me. Dropping down to the hourly, this is an hourly resistance. Looking at the 30-minute time frame now, apart from this 30-minute resistance in here, we have another 30-minute resistance around 186.430. Let's have a look on the 50-minute time frame as well. So I would say the first target for buys could potentially be this 4-hour resistance really, because let's say around 186.750, targeting the 4-hour and the hourly resistance as well. And the second target for buys, now let's have a look again on weekly. So weekly, so this is the current weekly high, dropping down to the daily time frame. We have a daily resistance formed all the way up to around 187.990. Dropping down to the 4-hour time frame, and what do we see here? We have a 4-hour resistance around 187.170. Dropping down to the hourly time frame, this is an hourly range. I'd say the second target for buys could potentially be 187.170, targeting this 4-hour resistance. And now to look for potential sells. So going back to the daily, the first thing we can see, obviously, this is a range. But that doesn't mean we will not find any opportunities within this rejection week. So what we need to do here is we need to drop down to the low time frame to see if we can identify any decent ranges. So dropping down to the 4-hour time frame, now what do we see? We have this 4-hour support around 184.730. Dropping down to the hourly time frame, and we have an hourly support around 184.970, 980. 30-minute time frame, that's the same level of support, and more likely will be the same on the 15-minute time frame. I'd say the first target for sells could potentially be this hourly support formed around 184.980, targeting this hourly support, and that's roughly around, let's say, 60 pip range. The second target for sells. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put a line to where the current weekly low has formed around 184,460. Let's see if we can see anything on the daily. The daily, obviously, this daily rejection formed on Tuesday. Drop it down to the 4-hour time frame. This is a 4-hour range. So this is still really a rangey area as well. Looking at the hourly. Let's have a look on the 30-minute time frame. We have this 30-minute support. We have this low. Let's have a look on the 50-minute time frame as well. I'd say the second target for sells, we could potentially target 184,460, targeting the low of the current weekly low.
Dominion Markets, your trading sanctuary.